Listen, when you're talking about someone like Beyonce, you're talking about someone who has all these little tricks. You can pause every single moment here and just kind of really start to pick apart, be like, oh my God, she's doing that. Oh my God, she's doing that. And I love talking about singers who can do so much. And we're talking about her mids. And there's this much going on. But that's why she's so good. Her mid is so nice. This is where she shines, is that tom. Her voice is beautiful. Look at how loose she is. She's blending so many different techniques. This is what was really cool about singers who came up in her era when she was coming up, is that all these different little nuggets of different techniques are implemented. You see that with Mariah as well. It would be a mistake to think exclusively about her range here, because it's much more interesting than that. People on one side, belting is unhealthy, not belting is pretentious. You get these moral statements, but here's why the emotions are so charged between the two different techniques and why great singers like Beyonce do both. What you're looking at right here, these are the vocal folds. More classical, older school styles of singing, although belting is far older than classical, but we're not going there. They are connected to the thyroid cartilage, this thing right here, your Adam's apple. So when that tilts, the folds go like this, they tilt, they thin out, and they stretch out, which is why you get more power. And it is also why you get vibrato, because there's not a lot of stability here. So this kind of happens, and that's vibrato. Belting is very different. In fact, quite the opposite. Singing in that older style, the thyroid cartilage tilts backwards for belting. It's the opposite direction. You have this to this, which is fat. It gets fat. And it is in that girth, that thick with the two C's, fat with the PH, whitest boy on the internet talking about singing. Folds get super fat and they come together and they kind of stay together. That's what creates belting. So what she's doing here, and you can see it. Look at her head as she tilts back. Look at it. Because it's easier for the thyroid cartilage to go backwards in that instance. And then she goes forward, the tilt in the more classical vibrato-esque style. Listen, when you're talking about someone like Beyonce, you're talking about someone who has all these little tricks. You can pause every single moment here and just kind of really start to pick apart, be like, oh my God, she's doing that. Oh my God, she's doing that. And I love talking about singers who can do so much. And we're talking about her mids. And there's this much going on. But that's why she's so good. Every part of your range when you sing is important. That belt. The growls, the belting. Oh my goodness. She got mic technique too on this. This woman is big brain. Fuck big brain. This woman is galaxy brain. We talked about the difference between belting and the classical singing. It's not classical singing. It exists in many styles. We're just going to call it classical because I hate redefining everything all the time, always, and yet I do it anyway. I think they call that self-loathing. So if I'm belting and I'm right up close to the mic here, it's kind of unpleasant. So what she's doing here, and I'll explain why this is, she's going back on the belt. She's doing that so that these obnoxious frequencies that I'm about to highlight are, less obnoxious. So what you're seeing here is a spectrogram. This is the timeline. These are the frequencies on the vertical axis, and then how bright something is how loud that frequency is. Pretty stark difference between belting and not belting, right? Now, I don't belt particularly well. If you are belting really well, actually all of these frequencies end up being pretty much the same intensity. Like that's why belting feels like a wall of sound. You can see that right here When I start singing more classically, those frequencies vanish. You can definitely tell that frequency is obnoxious. And it is less obnoxious when we introduce that more classical singing. So what she does is she turns her head away from the mic when she's belting. If you've ever had a siren coming at you and you cover your ears while it's coming towards you, but then as it leaves, you feel safe enough to uncover your ears, that is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Are the sounds between the two of you are getting shorter and shorter and higher in frequency, and then they go away from each other. Those waves get farther, they get bigger. Frequency size is literal. Okay, so higher frequencies are more annoying, but why? Have you ever heard a baby cry in a plane? The human ear is tuned to a very specific set of frequencies. It's not just how we hear, it's how loud we hear it. The resonance in our ear is amplified right around 3 kilohertz, which incidentally is where a baby screams. It's also where that belting frequency lies. Just like I lied to my wife about folding the laundry. I hope she doesn't watch the video before she gets home. So that's why she tilts her head back when she does it. It's a volume thing for sure, but it is also a sound tone decision. Nice. Who needs to breathe? Audio sample there. So she's making some interesting choices here. The vowel is but then she lifts this off part. That's actually what opera singers do. Like, no lie, that's what we do. In opera, you have to project over the orchestra. Also, you kind of have to sound good. So you take those elements, that twang, that projection, that baby screaming quality, and then you work around. You use what we call vowel modification, and that is what Beyonce just did, which is why it sounds so damn good. Do you have an outfit for every day of the year? Damn, that was good. Oh, come on. Imagine being the guy whose job it is to fan her. I'd apply. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about before, where we try to get, as opera singers, that very neutral sound that we then work with in terms of the brightness, depending on what part of the range we're in. It's this weird it's it's all of these things at the same time that we really try to, the vowel is the thing that takes the most time to train, particularly in classical singing. If you're going to go flat, if you're going to fuck up, it's going to be on the vowel. Because the tongue has to go, it's a farther back vowel, right, versus farther forward. When we say back vowel, forward vowel, we can talk about the heel of the tongue and its position, and I much prefer that because it's actually descriptive. But when you have these vowels in classical music, it's so challenging to navigate that sound so that in every single part of the range, you're highlighting frequencies that as the notes change, as you are in action, going through every part of your range, you are trying to get the most lush and delicious sound possible. And she's doing that. It takes people a lifetime to be able to do it all throughout their range. Some people never finish. Not that it's ever done. And she's just doing it. That's beautiful. balance out a little bit of brightness. I mean, swoon. Man, her voice her voice is so fucking beautiful. It hits. Just her on a vowel, like the sound quality is so good, and her dedication and conviction to the music is so good. Like it hits. Like I feel it. Here we go with the belt. Yeah, belt. A lot of vowel morphing. Imagine your voice being so powerful you have to actually move your microphone 2.5 feet. There we go. So pretty. Oh, that's pretty. Now we're getting into the high bits, but let me tell you, it's the mids are where the magic happens. That's where, when you get to the mids, that's where like you can usually deliver. Damn, she delivers. Stay tuned and subscribe for the video that I'm going to be doing on her high end. The subscribe button is right down somewhere here. I'm going to point down, but you know where to find it.